everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about the new movie, The Menu. The Menu is directed by Mark Mylod, who has worked a bit on the TV show Shameless, but hasn't done much else of note. This movie looked like it had an interesting concept behind it, so I had to check it out. The synopsis is as follows. The Menu focuses on a young couple who visits an exclusive destination restaurant on a remote island where the acclaimed chef has prepared a lavish tasting menu, along with some shocking surprises. So without further ado, let's get into the 6 things that make a movie great. 1. The plot. The plot of this movie ended up being extremely simple, but I liked the way that it played out on screen. All of these people from different backgrounds pay a lot of money to go experience this exclusive meal at a very renowned restaurant that is known for serving concepts in addition to its food. But the more you discover about the chef and the more you discover about the customers, the darker this movie becomes. And by the 4th course, it's far too late for anyone to back out. While I enjoyed the way that the plot played out, and there were little things here and there that made the movie even that much better, the movie did start off kind of slow, but there were a couple things that went into it that I think made it seem even slower, which I'll discuss later. But it kind of gives you the frog in boiling water effect, to where the story kind of slowly warms you up and then all of a sudden it's boiling and you find yourself in that water. And there were a couple twists near the end of the movie that made it that much more enjoyable. So for me, plot gets a thumbs up. 2 is family friendliness. The Menu is rated R. There's one moment of very brief sexual dialogue describing something that happened. There's a pretty moderate amount of profanity, and there's quite a bit of violence including blood, gore, and 2 suicides, one seen on screen and one off screen. So with those things in mind, family friendliness gets a thumbs down. 3 is acting and script. Most of the acting performances in this movie were pretty well done. Anya Taylor-Joy and Ralph Fiennes both deliver really good performances. I did think that the performance of John Leguizamo was a little weak, and Nicholas Hoult is not my favorite actor, but his acting performance was good, though his character was really annoying at first, which is one of the reasons why the beginning of this movie felt really slow. It grows on you though, don't worry. And the script of this movie was pretty decent. Most of the interactions between characters were pretty good, but there were a couple scripted moments and things written into the story that were really unique, and I enjoyed the part they played in the script and the overall movie. I felt that the script really had a great balance of dark satire mixed with kind of thriller horror, which can be a hard line to find, but I think this movie did it. So for me, acting and script get a thumbs up. 4 is character development. There's a really creative moment that happens in this movie that gives you a snapshot of what all the different customers' backstories are. And I thought that moment was great. However, not many of these characters get a ton of development. Anya Taylor-Joy plays Margot, who is the main protagonist, but even by the end of the movie, you still don't really know who she is. In fact, pretty much all of these characters, all you end up finding out about them is 1 or 2 personal things and what they do for jobs. Chef Julian Slowik, I think, probably gets the most character development out of anybody, but it's played out as more of a surprise as that is the overarching story of the movie. I really like what you find out about him as the main antagonist of this film, and his character interactions with all of his customers are just gold. Most of his development comes through interactions with Margot, and I felt that those were some of the strongest moments that this film had. And like I mentioned before, the character of Tyler is really annoying at first, but he starts to grow on you, and actually gets a decent amount of character development comparatively with the other characters in the film. In fact, his character delivers some of the most satire that you see in this film, and once you catch on to it, it's actually really funny. So though this film had a very small amount of character development, I think they gave you just enough to serve this film's purpose. So for me, character development gets a thumbs up. 5 is visuals and CGI. I think there's a couple moments with CGI, but you can't really tell and they don't take away from the film. But I really enjoyed some of the visuals that this movie had. I really liked how after a particular dish is served, in one of the corners of the screen it would have the name of the dish and the ingredients that were in it. And while at first it serves as informational, throughout the course of the film, they end up using that in a dark satirical way, and I think it's hilarious. The only mild critique I have to offer in this area is that after the first 15 minutes of this movie, you are in the serving area for the remainder of the film. There are a couple moments that take place outside of that, but for the most part, you are in this dining area for the entire movie. That being said, I think this movie is made well enough that you don't feel trapped. which when you think about other movies that take place in one isolated area is really hard to do. There are a couple disturbing visuals, obviously, with the suicides that take place, but other than that, I think the movie was very creative with its visuals, and it gave it just enough spice to set it apart from other films. So visuals and CGI get a thumbs up. And 6 is rewatchability. The Menu is an hour and 47 minutes long, and while it seems slow at first, I really like the way that it ended up playing out. I've been itching for a quality dark satirical comedy, and this movie fit the bill. It had a really good balance of comedy and light horror, and I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I don't necessarily think I would watch this movie a lot, but it's one that I could see myself watching again, so rewatchability gets a thumbs up. With all these areas considered, I have to give The Menu a 7.5 out of 10. This movie had a slow start, a really simple plot, and while there were a couple surprises here and there, for most of the movie you knew to a certain extent what was going to happen by the end of the film. But this movie had multiple excellent acting performances, some unique and likable visual elements, a couple twists and turns that played out really nicely, and an excellent balance of dark satire and horror. This was a very unique film that I didn't think I was going to enjoy at first, but I was surprised at how much I did. This kind of movie is not for everyone, but if you're looking for a unique film and you enjoy a good dark satirical comedy, then you might enjoy checking out The Menu, but I don't know that you necessarily need to in theaters. Thank you so much for watching. If you've seen The Menu, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your love and support, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one. Freaking Albie, what the frick?